Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Please continue with your lunch. Our next speaker is, without doubt, one of the most influential figures on the world energy scene. A combination of extensive experience, technical expertise, and political acumen gives him a unique and uniquely well-informed perspective on international oil and gas markets. Our speaker's appointment by President Bouteflika as Algeria's Minister of Energy and Mines in 1999 marked the capstone of a distinguished 30-year career in the field of hydrocarbons. During his tenure as minister, he has served as president of both OPEC in 2001 and the Organization of Arab Oil-Producing Countries in 2002. Prior to joining the Algerian government, our speaker worked as petroleum advisor at the World Bank, specializing in oil and gas exploration and development. He has also served as president of Sontrak and technical advisor to the president of Algeria. I can't help but note that our speaker is an honorary Texan. In fact, he's an Aggie with a PhD in petroleum engineering from Texas A&M University. So we don't mess with him. One thing is certain, our speaker is supremely qualified to speak on his topic, the Gas Exporting Countries Forum. Algeria was a pioneer in natural gas development and remains one of the world's most important gas exporters, as you all well know. And it has played a leading role in the development of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum, hosting the forum's second ministerial meeting in Algiers in February 2002. His presence at this conference does us great honor, and we are immensely grateful that he's traveled a long distance and taken the time in his busy schedule to join us. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce His Excellency Dr. Shakib Khalil, Minister of Energy and Mines of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria. Your Excellency.
Thank you, Ambassador Derjan. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me first to thank Ambassador Derjan for the invitation to speak to you today. And of course, it's a great honor for me to participate in this gas forum, from the producing countries' perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, natural gas is regarded as a first-choice energy for the 21st century, given its availability as a clean energy. It is increasingly important for power generation. I would also say that natural gas contributes in promoting renewable energies through the combined solar gas power stations. And the share of natural gas in the world energy consumption has been regularly increasing during the last 2 decades. It is practically the same share as coal, 24%, and it is bound to further increase for the coming years. And it will reach 28% penetration in 2030. And natural gas reserves are sufficient enough to adequately meet the market demand for the next decades. However, geographical distribution of those reserves is not matching the size nor the expected increase of different markets. While gas consumption of OECD countries is set to increase more than in the past, their gas reserves, which is not even 10% of world reserves, continue to decline. On the other hand, OPEC member countries have not only oil reserves, but gas reserves as well, which represent 44% of world reserves. And thanks to new discoveries and to better assessment of existing fields, world reserves are regularly increasing. Gas pipe exchanges between neighboring countries and continents constitute a major part of the internal gas trade now, about 79%. LNG industry dynamism is set to last for a long time because of improved technologies that reduce cost. And LNG production will gain momentum because of increased capacity of both liquefaction units and LNG tankers, and opening up an extension of new maritime gas routes. Nowadays, LNG tankers can travel more than 10,000 kilometers. Liquefaction units and LNG terminals are developing to benefit from the new access to gas fields. This is the challenge for an industry which has been massively investing in development and exploitation of new reserves, new liquefaction facilities, as well as transportation and regasification. LNG global trade has more than doubled during the early 90s, reaching a record high level of 168 billion cubic meters in the year 2003. There will be a further increase during the coming years to reach 220 to 270 billion meters cubes per year in 2010, according to the International Energy Agency estimates. LNG production process, as you know, is a capital-intensive process requiring a huge amount of investments, the regasification terminal being just the final phase of it. A regasification project is economically feasible if huge upstream investments are provided for, including regasification plant, transportation, and investments are usually guaranteed through partnership formulas, mutually beneficial and spread over a long time period. This is how the take-or-pay agreements based on long-term contracts, usually 20 to 25 years, generated the LNG process and its development. Contract provisions ensure the supplier protection against financial risks associated with the gas chain investment requirements, and at the same time ensure to the importer long-term reliable and sustainable supply at competitive prices. Some gas importing countries, which in the past were more in favor of supply security, are now regarding flexibility as an important management principle of the gas industry, not requiring necessarily consultation with the producers. Therefore, long-term gas contracts which ensure security of supply are sometimes questioned and sometimes favorably regarded, but not openly stated by the advocate of immediate and full liberalization. This situation may trigger international tensions for the parties concerned because, one, competition between gas producers may deprive them from a fair price and lead to investment decline in supply chain facilities. And two, competition between importing countries for access to gas supply may imbalance a market not yet globalized. Tensions may induce all parties to take measures to protect their interest, not unlike the experience undergone by the oil sector. Although the spot market is considered as potentially fruitful, since it offers good arbitration possibilities for large contracts, it could not replace long-term transactions, at least in the immediate future. Long-term transactions are still indispensable for ensuring market stabilization and for funding of new export projects. Development of swaps in LNG markets presents interesting commercial opportunities to optimize transportation means. These transactions are not only an adequate tool for cooperation between gas companies to grab market opportunities and meet consumer needs, they also complement long-term contracts. Ladies and gentlemen, natural gas global demand will increase because of power production needs. Market segmentation according to important consumers region is as follows. First, the North American market will be in 2025 the largest consumer of natural gas and LNG, equivalent to 538 billion met cubes to meet the important need of power generation. According to experts, LNG is an attractive option for the American economy, and according to estimates for the year 2010, American imports may reach 15 to 19 billion tons per year. That is about 20 to 26 billion cubic meters a year. This explains the renewed interest in the U.S. for rehabilitating and launching new regasification plants. The insufficient number of LNG import terminals in the U.S. may lead to a shortage of gas supply in the long term. His Excellency Spencer Abraham, Energy Secretary during the LNG Summit in Washington last December, stated, I quote, "We shall need 9 new regasification terminals before 2025, since at that time we will have to import 20 times more LNG than in 2002. For the moment, there are only 4 operational terminals. However, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission has indicated that there are 30 projects in the pipeline. Second, Asia economic development, with the highest potential growth, will most probably triple its consumption between 2001 and 2025. Growth rate of gas demand will reach 4.5% per year, including an important LNG share. For this region, the Asia region, this kind of energy is linked to vital economic stakes. Japan and South Korea are already consuming more than 70% of globally marketed LNG. Given India's needs and China's emergence as the new future workshop of the world, tensions are to be expected in the Asian market. Third, Europe consumption will double in 25 years, from 454 billion met cube in 2001 to 736 billion met cubes in 2025. And 60% of the European market demand will be covered by imports, and by 2015 there will be a supply deficit to be met of approximately 250 billion met cubes in Europe. This region will continue to implement deregulation policies already announced since the opening up of gas and electricity markets. Security of supply and problems resulting from market opening will be the prevailing factors in the strategies of concern to natural gas stakeholders in Europe. The European market is, however, still characterized by rigid constraints due to the transition period leading to a really open, free, and transparent market. Ladies and gentlemen, globalization and structural changes of the world economy have prompted general economic and institutional reforms affecting major energy sectors dominated in the past by public monopoly and large private international operators. In the past, separate gas and electricity markets were managed by monopolies and state-controlled in the name of national energy independence and obligation of public service. In this regard, the case of Europe is particularly interesting. The deregulation process introduced new legal provisions that challenged the basis of the European gas market and its relationship with the producing countries. Problems arising from liberalization of the European market underscore differences among European countries, differences related to the various levels of market opening, and in particular in terms of access to transportation networks and storage facilities by emerging actors. Consequently, gas producers and European countries are facing many challenges. All parties will have to imagine new cooperation schemes, more equitable, which take into consideration profit and risk sharing. To this end, the need to meet increased European demand for natural gas should be harmonized with the need to engage in huge investments with long-term depreciation. Security of supply for consumer countries and the guarantee of equitable and fair prices for producers require new strategic partnerships adapted to the new international energy scene. In our opinion, this matter has to be dealt with in a really global approach. In such circumstances, Algeria has chosen dialogue and consultation with producers, consumers, and companies. We consider this approach as the most appropriate tool to ensure stability of trade transactions and operators' interests. We have adopted this attitude vis-à-vis the new regulatory framework that the European Commission was about to establish in order to liberalize its gas market. Like other producers, we believe that any change in gas market regulations should be carried out through consultations. We have raised this concern during the Forum of Gas-Producing Countries held in Algiers, September 2002, and Doha, Qatar, in February 2003. Representatives of exporting countries, gas companies, financial institutions, and the European Commission agreed on the need to preserve long-term contracts given their major role in ensuring security of supply, the smooth running of the market, and the preservation of producers' interests, including the funding countries as well. The European Commission has finally recognized the positive effect of long-term contracts on supply security and on the harmonious development of gas market and on the security of supply for the world market as well. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to benefit from the opportunities created by structural changes of the gas industry and its formidable increase, gas companies of producing countries are facing major challenges. First, the positioning of the gas companies of producing countries in upstream worldwide in order to increase their reserves and diversify their markets. Second, their direct or indirect and limited access to markets. And third, the continued enhancement of their performances in general and cost control in particular. In this regard, Algeria has adopted for its energy and mine strategy an approach of openness, transparency, and competition. Partnership has been and remains a major tool in our domestic and external strategy. Within its international redeployment and activity development, Sonatrach, the national oil company, is taking part in the development of Camisea, the big gas field in Peru, in partnership with Argentinian, US, and South Korean companies. Sonatrach has 10% of the upstream sector and more than 20% in the transportation pipelines. Discussions are carried out in order to take shares in the LNG unit to reach Mexican and North American markets. Sonatrach holds also 10% of equity capital of Reganosa, a company in charge of building and managing an LNG storage terminal and regasification plant at Murgados in Spain, as well as transportation network in the state of Galicia. Sonatrach, in a joint venture with BP, will supply LNG to one of the major European gas markets, that is the British market. This market will receive around 5 billion cubic meters for the year 2005, which represent 5% of the market needs. As for transportation, 2 contracts were signed in 2003 for a joint acquisition of 2 LNG tankers. One contract passed with 2 Japanese companies, Mitsui Itoshu, and the second with the Norwegian ship owner, Bergesen, for a total amount of $380 million. Both LNG tankers will be operational by 2005. Ladies and gentlemen, being an oil and gas producer, Algeria is closely following the energy market development at the global and European levels. Its development and energy strategies are built upon partnership and cooperation opportunities with producers, industrial operators, dealers, and consumers. For the past 3 decades, Sonatrach has acquired a world-renowned expertise on the whole gas chain. It holds an exceptional geographical position and benefits from its dual resources capacity that are LNG plants and natural gas pipelines that cross to Europe. Algeria has all the necessary will and assets to meet part of the U.S. future energy demand for LNG. Algeria is relatively close compared to others non-American natural gas sources, and it is a reliable partner given Sonatrach well-known expertise over the gas chain process and as an LNG supplier. Best proof of this is the recently signed contract between Sonatrach and Statoil. Both companies have signed a sale contract on an ex-ship basis for the Cove Point, Maryland terminal for a yearly amount of 1 billion cubic meters as from November 2003. As you know, this terminal capacity is 7.5 billion cubic meters per year, and it's equally distributed between Shell, BP, and Statoil. This East Coast terminal, located in a gas consumers area, will benefit from gas price premium compared to the reference NYMEX price and will allow for significant savings in shipping costs from Algeria. Moreover, since last year, Sonatrach sales to the U.S. market without or with Gaz de France in a joint subsidiary called Med LNG and Gas Limited have reached 1.3 billion cubic meters. In this perspective, Sonatrach has decided, as a first step, to develop a new LNG integrated chain in partnership with competent companies. This huge integrated project, from upstream to downstream, provides for the gaseous oil fields, development, transportation infrastructures, building of liquefaction unit of 4 to 5 million tons per year minimum, and joint gas marketing. There is no doubt that the American market offers a lot of good opportunities. However, there are a number of uncertainties and constraints that may hamper the development of new LNG chains in the U.S. Many LNG terminals projects exist in the U.S. However, their development is subject to a clear, stable, legal framework that promote capital-intensive investments needed for the gas chain. Algeria is in the unique position to bear testimony to the impact brought about by the legislative changes undergone during the 70s in the U.S. Because of the liberalization process carried out at the end of the 70s, many supply contracts passed with U.S. companies by Sonatrach were cancelled, although huge investments were made in the liquefaction and shipping sectors. This situation has had an adverse impact on LNG production and transportation means. Ladies and gentlemen, as early as the 60s, Algeria had decisively adopted the gas option, and since then has participated in its extraordinary saga. We are confident and optimistic about the future of the gas industry, and we are calling for international gas partnerships to meet future needs of consumers. And I thank you very much for your kind attention.